All right, here's a quick preview of what we're working on in the 7.4 release of Cerb. Something that we've needed for a long time is a better way to organize tasks. And something that's become quite popular in the software development world is Kanban-style boards, which are really pretty simple. If you've used post-it notes or index cards, you're already halfway there. So let's look at what it is. First, in Setup Plugins, you want to make sure that you have the Project Boards plugin installed. Then in the search menu, you'll have a new Project Boards option in the list. If you click that, you can create a new board. So let's call this one Cerb 7.4, the things that I need to do to get this release out the door. And you'll notice that on a project board, you can have every type of record. You can also have them simultaneously on the same board. That's one of the major benefits of the Cerb way that we're doing this, is that you can mix all of these different record types together. So I'm going to start with just a task. And then we can do a quick search here. So we say when we're adding new tasks to our board, we want to make sure that they're only things that are not completed. And we'll save that. And we can get into the custom template later. This lets us actually configure exactly how the card looks. And we'll save that. So now we have our project board. Let's just open it. And we have a blank project board on its profile page. We'll add a column. It's kind of traditional to do something like to do and in progress and then completed. And you may have noticed when I was configuring it here that inside of each column we can also associate behaviors with cards that are dropped in that column. We'll do that in a minute for completed here to save us a little bit of time with tasks. So the first thing we want to do is add a new card. And we know by clicking on the plus sign that we want to add a new task because that's the only kind of record that we've set up inside of our project so far. So here it's looking for tasks that aren't already on the board that are not completed. We don't have any since this is a new Cerb installation, so let's go ahead and create one. Let's say demonstrate project boards is one of our tasks. We'll assign that to ourselves. We'll say that it has We'll say that has average importance here. All right, and we've added that first task. We can add multiple tasks at once. We could just keep going. Document the release notes for 7.4. We'll also assign that to ourselves. Now we have two new tasks here. We hit Save Changes. They pop up as cards on the board. So demonstrating project boards, we could just drag over to In Progress because that's something that we're doing right now. You'll notice that it flashed to refresh. So here, let's do another task really quick, and we'll say demonstrate bot behaviors on project board cards. Assign that to ourselves, drop that into the project. Now over here on this column for completed, we're going to add a new bot behavior. We don't have any yet, so we're going to make one. Let's go ahead and add a bot here too. We'll call this project bot. Own it to Cerb. We're not going to bother making any image for it yet. It doesn't need to have @mentions. And we'll save it. Now we can add a behavior. We're going to add it to project bot. We're going to make it a custom task behavior, visible only to bots, and we'll say close task. Save that, open the behavior, come in here, add an action. Close the task. The action is going to be set task status completed. That's it. So we've already added this behavior. It's already selected. We just save changes. And now we see that close task is a behavior that's going to run every time a card is dropped into the completed column of our project board. Save changes. All right, so we're going to demonstrate bot behaviors. I'm going to say that that's what I'm doing right this minute. I was demonstrating it. Now that it's done, I'm going to drag it over into completed. Now watch what happens to the status. The status just marked itself completed. Now let's take a look at custom card rendering and what that means. So let's go ahead and edit the project. And back here in tasks, it says this is the custom card template. If we paste something like this, it's going to say if the task is completed, then we're just going to draw completed with a check mark. Otherwise, we're going to do nothing. So if this is blank, it will use the default card. Otherwise, it will use the card style that we're defining here. you have all your placeholder for tasks. And you can use custom HTML here. I mean, you could draw a big picture of the person who it's assigned to, use any combination of the fields you want. You could even synthesize different cards or use calculations between custom fields to output something. It's completely up to you what you display there. So we're going to go ahead and use this template, save changes, save changes. Now look, every card that's in our completed column just says completed. The fields are gone, and it's very obvious that that's done. So we're going to say, now that we've demonstrated project boards, we'll drop that into this column. It just went completed. And we're going to say that documenting the release notes for 7.4 is our next step. And that's project boards. There's quite a bit more that we're working on for this. You'll notice when you look at them, any task is really just linked to a project board column, which means that when you're looking at that project board column, you can also just link any kind of record that way, and it will show up on the board automatically. And it should be noted that these boards are shared between workers. So if something is owned by a group, the entire group can look at it. You're showing the owner here. Everybody can be documenting what their progress is. And if a manager wants to see what people are working on, they could just see a list of here's the things that this worker is doing according to their board. All the tasks, all the tickets, all the calls, all the leads or opportunities, anything that they're working on. It just provides a lot more oversight. You can also use this for things like onboarding a customer. You could have a column that says this is a new lead, this is the first contact, this is helping them set up the system. You can have as many columns as you want here. You could just keep going. Say after something is completed, we want to move it into QA testing for quality assurance. And then after that's done, we want to make sure that everything is added to the documentation so people know how to use it. And you can see you could just keep adding columns here. You can keep dragging things along this little timeline. So this could also handle any kind of multi-step process that you want to make sure that is followed by step 1, step 2, step 3, all the way through. And every time a card is dropped into a new step of the process, a bot could be setting custom fields on the card based on that step. It could also be adding comments, or it could be sending automatic responses to the customers. So this will make it a lot easier for everybody to follow the same process. You just drop a record in here and you move it through the process. So this is something that we're excited to share with you. We're hoping to get it out in the next few weeks.